Hello, this is Grayson,
And I'm Jordan.
and this is
Partners in Paranormal.
We just got done seeing Wicked in theaters. It was really good.
It was.
What'd you think about it, Jordan?
It was good. It was comparable to the live action play.
I cried.
Greg did
It was
cry.
really good.
But I also fell asleep for like 2 minutes. Messed up my whole point of view on the movie.
Yeah, I didn't fall asleep. I watched the whole thing. It was really good. We snuck in candy, obviously, and drinks. And
I bet you the
Yeah.
people next to us thought that I was sipping on a tall boy.
yeah, because we had like liquid deaths.
Yeah.
Well, how are you doing today, Jordan?
I'm doing good.
We're recording really late because Jordan didn't want to record during the day because he got too antsy. So
I
we're
had
starting over.
we had errands
I guess so. We
we
did.
needed to run, or I needed to run.
Yeah. So I guess we're gonna start off with our own personal stories
doing
today.
this again.
What were you talking about earlier? Oh, your Hat Man story.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead, Jorb.
This was in high school, probably junior year, maybe late sophomore. Anywho, I had a girlfriend. Me and some buddies from swim.
It wasn't me.
What did I say?
I know.
I said my ex-girlfriend, right?
You said I had a girlfriend.
Oh, my ex-girlfriend. A previous situationship. Anywho, we were at her house and a few other friends in their little cabana, and I wanted a little soda pop, so I went into the main house in their garage where they kept their sodas, and I was walking out of the garage, and we had this one friend, Hayes, who was tall and lanky, almost like Slender Man / Hat Man, or Shadow Man, and I look to my left as I'm walking through the kitchen, and I see this tall, slender figure with a outline of a top hat, and I was like, Hayes, what are you doing in here? Why are you wearing a hat? And then I was like, well, I didn't hear anyone else come in. And so I look back over, and there's no one there. And I run out of there, and I go back upstairs.
Did you take any Benadryl this day?
No.
Because apparently the Hat Man shows up to people who take Benadryl.
Yeah. You
Why
take
not?
like 20 Benadryl, and you see the Hat Man.
No, I don't think it's 20.
You have to take a large amount.
Really? I thought it was just...
Because it's very easy to get liver damage from abusing Benadryl. 12 pills.
Okay, so 12 Benadryl, and you can meet the Hat Man, but don't do that. We're not recommending that you do this. Okay, good story. Hat Man's story. Classic paranormal story.
He didn't do anything. He was just there.
I feel like that's what he usually does. He's just there, and he's staring at you. Well,
He was standing there, ominously. Is that what SpongeBob says?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, he was standing there, menacingly. Just whenever Patrick, go on with your story.
Okay. My story is whenever I was in high school, living at my parents' house, and I was sleeping in my room, which my bed was right next to my window, and I was trying to go to sleep, and I hear 3 knocks, like so. And I was like, was it a tree? Was it the wind? But then I was like, there's no way that was the wind or a tree, because it was just too precise. So I go out and I get my dad, and I was like, somebody just knocked on my window. My dad grabs his gun, classic Texas dad, and he runs outside with his gun, and he's like, who the hell is out here? What are you doing out here? And there was nobody out there.
Yeah, that.
So, today we're doing kind of the same format as we did last week. I did some research on a topic that I was really excited about. I was trying to keep it a secret from Jordan, but I couldn't because we live together and I tell Jordan everything. Even things I'm not supposed to tell him. Whoopsies. So, without further ado, let's get into it. You ready for my story?
Yes.
All right. So, the 7 wonders of the world are called wonders because they are remarkable. They're considered to be remarkable and awe-inspiring achievements of human ingenuity and engineering, representing structures that were so impressive and beyond expectations of their time that they caused a sense of wonder and amazement in people who saw them. They tell the stories of human imagination and technical aptitude. They show how civilizations left their marks on the world and culture. So, Jordan, do you know what the 7 wonders of the world are?
I'm going to be cheating.
Do you know them? Try to remember.
Mount Machu Picchu.
No. So, the 7 wonders
Wait.
of the...
Great Wall of China?
No, I found the actual list. So can I say it? It's the Mausoleum at Halicarnassus, the Lighthouse of Alexandria, Hanging Gardens of Babylon, Colossus of Rhodes, the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, Statue of Zeus at Olympia, and what we're talking about today, the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Why is it all Greek stuff?
Because they are awesome.
The first civilization that crumbled horribly.
It's all old and it's still there from the olden ancient times, which is why I think it's...
Why isn't the Parthenon part of that?
Well...
The Parthenon is actually like a great feat of architecture.
I don't know. You don't even know what these are. You haven't looked up any of them.
But I know that the Parthenon is a feat of architecture.
Okay.
Because the way, like, if you look at it, they have it to where the pillars are different heights.
I've been there before.
But do you know about that?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that it's because that nobody really knows how these things were built. Like, they're all just mysterious. Because in the old, like, right now we have, like, helicopters and other stuff to move heavy things, but we don't know how they would build huge things like that. Like, how they move the pillars, per se.
It was the Anunnaki.
Okay, let's
Do you know what the
on.
Anunnaki are?
No.
You should have looked that up.
Okay, let's move on. So today I will be doing a deep dive into the construction of the pyramids. Who built them and why? Some believe that the pyramids are haunted by spirits, so I will also get into some of that as well. The pyramids of Giza in itself is just a huge phenomenon to mankind, which is why I'm talking about it today. It's not so much paranormal, but more informative and also just mysterious, I think. It's really cool.
Have you been there?
No. I wish. Have you been there?
I can't say.
I know you haven't.
I can't say. Legally, I cannot answer that question, Grayson.
So much of the construction behind them is a mystery. The size and complexity of the structures, like we were talking about just now, as well as the limited technological resources available, also like we were talking about. Our cats are running after each other right now,
I think they can hear it.
They're trying to attack each other. So if you can hear scuffling, that's what that is. It's our kitties, Mochi and Ichi. So as well as the limited technological resources available to ancient Egyptians make it difficult to imagine exactly how they were built. Hence why there are multiple theories behind their construction. So Jordan, do you know why the pyramids were built?
Yeah, to house the dead people. Well, pharaohs and, what were the ladies called?
I think it's just for pharaohs, actually.
Oh, it wasn't. Well, what about the pharaoh of, what's her name? Who was the lady who was like, who like forefronted this? Cleopatra.
I don't know. Oh, maybe, I don't know. Don't ask me, actually.
You're the one who was researching it. What are you...
So, the pyramids are monumental tombs of Egypt's Old Kingdom era and were constructed 4,500 years ago. Egypt's Old Kingdom era was...
That's crazy that it was built, like, from the time we are till the counting era, or before Christ, or after Christ.
It's actually not the time we are. It's 20... You haven't even...
But it was 4,000 years ago.
4,500. So
But
it's
that's-
circa... What I was literally about to say is it was circa 2649 to 2130 BC.
I guess it was even longer ago, but it's still crazy that it's still here after double the expectancy of our counting era.
Yeah, and that's what we were just talking about. Like, that's why it's the 7 wonders of the world.
Yeah. I was just adding
Because it's so old and they're just still there. So the Egypt's Old Kingdom era, circa 2649 to 2130 BC, was an incredibly dynamic period of Egyptian history. It was the time where all of the concepts, practices, and monuments from earlier periods developed into the forms that characterize and influence the rest of pharaonic history. It is also known as the Age of the Pyramids. So this is kind of where the pyramids, like, this is the time, obviously, where they are building the Great Pyramids of Giza, but pyramids were built way before this, too, which I'm going to get into in the haunted portion, because I couldn't really find any haunted stories about the pyramids of Giza.
Just who's allowed in then? Because you're basically disrupting their sleep. Are you allowed to go in there?
I think so. That's how they... I don't know.
Well, okay, so, like, what is it called whenever you study old shit?
Archaeologist? Historian?
Would that be an archaeologist if they go into the... I guess so. Yeah, I was
Wait,
going to say
where is
archaeologist.
this coming from? Where is this coming from? What are you talking about? I'm talking about...
Oh, the old ones.
Yeah, I'm
But
talking
it's
about
the
how
old one.
this is the time where pyramids have developed into the Pyramid of Giza. Like, there used to be stepping pyramids where there's, like, 6 huge steps up to the top. Instead of, like, the rows and rows and rows of stones.
Like
so
as
this
big
is
as Giza.
this is the time where they've
Have they dug
perfected-
underneath it?
I don't
See how
know.
many more there are?
That's not what I'm talking about.
I'm just wondering how big this thing is now.
So this time, the Egypt's Old Kingdom era was basically where all of what we know about ancient Egypt comes from. It's where all of these traditions that they used to practice and, like, all of these ideas where they all kind of come together, and this is, like, what we think of as ancient Egypt. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So during this time, the pharaoh was the single ruler of Egypt. They were considered as a living god and were believed to ensure the annual flooding of the Nile, which is necessary for crop growth. New religious ideas emerged during this era. The Egyptians believed in life after death and that the dead would reach a place of peace and plenty after a long journey in the afterlife. Death was seen as merely the beginning of a journey to the other worlds, which, in The Mummy, which we just watched because I wanted to watch it after doing this research, he says death is only the beginning at the end of the movie.
The Protector does?
Imhotep,
The
Mummy,
yeah, he
says
does
that
say that
whenever he
one.
goes into the pond of
Yeah.
death.
Yeah, sludge. Of
Spirits.
sludge. Of goop.
So the pharaohs expected to become gods in the afterlife. So to prepare for the next world, they had the pyramids built and filled them with all of the things that they would need to guide and sustain them into the next world. Each of the 3 pyramids was a part of a bigger complex, including a palace, temples, solar boat pits, and other features.
Solar boat pits?
And I have on my notes, I say, what is a solar boat pit, you may ask?
I do ask.
I had to look this up because I did not know.
Doth do I ask?
So a solar boat is a vessel used by the sun god Ra in ancient Egyptian
I like Ra.
mythology. Since the pharaoh was the representation of the sun god on earth, he would use a similar boat upon his death to travel through the underworld on their journey to the afterlife. So, they would build the boats and bury them with the pharaohs in the solar boat pits. In the pyramids, our cats are knocking their water onto the floor.
So it's kind of like the dude who across the river Styx.
Moses?
What? No, it's not Styx. What is it? What is it in Greek mythology? Whenever you go to hell, who's? Damn it! What is that?
I don't know. This isn't Greek though. This is Egypt.
I know, but
And
it's fun to see the similarities between religions and whatnot.
But this is because they see the pharaoh as a representation of the sun god on earth, and the sun god Ra in Egypt mythology uses the vessel. So
To get to the afterlife.
yeah, I don't know what Ra does with the boat though. But what I have here is that I feel like you could go down a rabbit hole on this, so we're gonna stop here.
Well, I'm just gonna bring up one more thing. I know I understand that you probably don't have an answer for it. So regular people aren't allowed to go to the afterlife then.
They are, but
Okay.
the
It's
pharaohs.
a specialty craft for them to go to the land of the gods. Almost.
But the pharaohs, they are seen as a living god. So whenever they die, they become actual gods after their time in the afterlife.
I see.
So, who built the pyramids of Giza? You don't have to answer this. Obviously, slaves did,
Yeah.
but it's who was behind the slaves building it. So it's thought that Pharaoh Khufu first began the construction on his pyramid in circa 2550 BC. His is the largest in Giza and was originally 481 feet or 147 meters tall, but it's a bit shorter now due to erosion.
Oh.
It's estimated to be made of 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing an average of 2.5 to 15 tons.
I wonder what the metric size or the size is cubic.
I don't know. Khufu's son, Khafre, built the second pyramid of Giza, circa 2520 BC. His burial ground also includes a sphinx, a mysterious limestone monument
That's that one.
with the body of a lion and the head of a pharaoh. The body of the sphinx was recovered in the 1800s after spending thousands of years buried in the sand, only its head being visible until they excavated the rest of it in the 1800s. I could probably...
Late or early?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
I could probably do a whole episode on just the Sphinx and the mystery surrounding it, but for now, I will just say it is carved from a single mass of limestone and is 66 feet tall and 240 feet long.
They had to have just done it straight out of the ground.
That's what it says. It's from they recovered it from a quarry underneath or from the plateau, and they just built it from what they had available, which was limestone.
Sounds about right, yeah.
It is speculated that there is a hidden tomb underneath the structure, but no one really knows the purpose of the Sphinx. So the third pyramid is...
Wait, there's 3 of them?
Yes.
In one area?
Uh-huh.
I thought it was just 2.
No, that's the pyramids of Giza. It's the 3.
Learn something new every day, gosh darn.
The third pyramid of Giza is considerably smaller than the first 2. Specifically, it is less than half their height at 218 feet, still incredibly huge, built by Khafre's son, so Khufu's grandson.
Wait, so each one of them were built in a lifetime?
Yes. And his name was Menkaure, circa 2490 BC. So, yeah, this is Khufu's son, Khafre's son, Menkaure. Khufu's grandson. Menkaure. So this is, during their reign, they build a pyramid so that they can die and be buried under their pyramid. Fun fact, Menkaure, so the grandson of Khufu, his sarcophagus was lost at sea as it was being transported to England in 1838, and now it's a priceless treasure that can be found.
Probably in the Mariana Trench.
It's not.
Where was it made?
They know the area.
Oh.
This is just a fun fact. I don't know anything else.
Okay.
So now let's get into how the pyramids were built. No one can be sure exactly because the engineering behind them was so impressive for the time. well, and for now, too. That's just amazing. Archaeologists discovered a nearby temporary city that was rich with resources. I read that it was about 17 acres wide, indicating that the laborers were very well fed and had been backed by a strong central authority. So this is where it was said that the people who built the pyramids stayed. So they all lived there. It said that they found bakeries and like bones of animals. So
Like that really shitty movie we watched.
What movie?
Where the dude traveled from like, it started in the Ice Age, like in the mountains or whatever. He was a Neanderthal sort of dude. And he traveled all the way to Egypt to find his dad.
I don't know.
Do you remember? It was so bad.
No, I don't remember.
Oh, I wish I could remember the name of that movie. Anywho.
Yeah, so
Irrelevant.
this city, I don't know what a temporary city is. I saw that it had a link to it, but I didn't go into it because there was just so much information.
I imagine it's just a city just made for laborers.
Yeah, that's what I imagine as well. But it just indicates that the laborers were well fed, so that's nice, but they're still probably slaves. So that sucks. It is thought that boatmen used the Nile and a network of waterways to bring materials and resources to the laborers of the Giza Plateau. Other communities across Egypt probably contributed workers as well as food and other essentials, which it was saying that it's probably a display to the nation of the wealth and control that the pharaohs had, that all of these communities of wealthy like kings and princes are sending their resources to the pyramids.
Oh, really? I was thinking it's like a dick measuring contest sort of thing.
Maybe something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So here's a few theories on how the pyramids were built. It's thought that the workers used a system of ramps that were greased with water or wet clay to move the massive stone blocks into place, and they extended the ramps as the pyramids got taller.
With like steps next to it? Because how else are the workers going to get up that?
I guess
It's
it had steps on
lubricated.
it. Remember Despicable Me, that little ramp that the kid gets thrown off of?
No.
Well, I remember that.
But do you know what I mean?
That's what I picture whenever I think of it.
Hmm.
But yeah, it says I don't know. That's the thing. That's the mysterious paranormal part of this, is that nobody really knows. So,
It was made out.
sledges, rollers, and levers may have been used to haul the stone blocks up the ramps. The stone was thought to have been transported from quarries to the pyramids via boat through a network of waterways, but keep in mind that the quarries were over 500 miles away. So they had to get the rocks from the quarries,
To
put
the
them
Nile.
in the boat.
Which, imagine having a boat to carry. If each one is like several tons, or not even several tons, like dozen, or almost a dozen tons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it must have just been like riddled with boats carrying these huge
Yeah, there's a convoy.
stones.
A convoy of boats just each
Yeah.
carrying one block.
Another theory is that Egyptians poured concrete into blocks high on the pyramid site. However, this theory is widely rejected. So
I was about to say, they didn't have the technology to make concrete last that long. There's a science to making concrete.
So some also say that bonding blocks with tapered edges were used to maneuver the stones into place, which I didn't go super into that, so I don't really know what that means. But for reference, it is thought that it took around 20 to 27 years to build the Great Pyramid of Giza. Just one. Just the Great Pyramid.
I can't imagine it being built in that time. I mean, shit, we have roads today where it takes a whole year to fix a little bit of road.
Yeah, but we also have...
Yeah, there's
like,
a lot of
there's not-
bureaucracy going into that.
Well, like, for the pyramids, they had towns of laborers that were
Yeah.
willing to work on this day and night, like, dying on the pyramids.
Yeah.
And we don't have people that are that dedicated, which that's
Right.
understandable. And they used about 100,000 workers in 3-month shifts. So it's saying that they would have 3-month shifts of just like hard labor, and then they would go home and
Are they
switch
just
out
done?
with people. I don't know.
Well, I imagine not if it took 20 to 27 years to make it.
And it sounds like they were well taken care of, for what it's worth.
I mean, yeah, if you at least get breaks from it.
Take around 5 to 10 years to replicate the pyramids in modern day. However, this is using resources such as helicopters and cranes to lift the stone blocks, which, keep in mind, weigh around 3 tons each or more. And obviously they didn't have helicopters or cranes back then, so it's like, how the fuck did you do this?
They probably used one of those, you know how at playgrounds they have like the hand done excavators?
Oh yeah.
Where you can they probably had something like that. He goes.
Although we have some theories on how the Egyptians constructed the pyramids, it is an amazing, mysterious, and intricate engineering phenomenon that we may never truly understand. Just pretty awesome. It's mysterious. I think it's kind of not paranormal, but supernatural. So that's pretty much the history behind the pyramids. So now let's get into the ghosts and spirits of the pyramids. So these stories that I have, the actual story that I have, it's not at the Pyramid of Giza. We'll get into it, but I just couldn't really find any actual stories of the Pyramid of Giza being haunted.
Because not many people can go into them unless you're an archaeologist.
Yeah, and they're not looking for spirits.
No.
But I assume that it's riddled with spirits. Just personally.
Yeah, with people dying, building them and whatnot. Yeah.
Well, and it's literally a tomb.
Yes, it is, but it's only to house one person.
Yeah, we'll get into this. So, ancient Egyptians believed that a portion of the pharaoh's spirit, aka their Ka, remained with their body after death. The pyramids were built to house the pharaoh's remains and provide for the spirits in the afterlife. At the time of death, pharaohs were mummified and ceremonies were held to prepare for the afterlife. The pyramids were cared for by priests who presented offerings and read religious writings to statues of the pharaohs.
So is it real that they just had like the sacred jars that held all their organs?
I think
that
so.
was real?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so, but I'm not sure. I definitely know that they take all their organs out.
Yeah.
So visitors have reported strange sounds, unexplained phenomena, and unsettling experiences while exploring the pyramids. Residents of nearby neighborhoods claim to hear screaming voices. Fun fact, I found an article about some explorers finding a vast network of underground chambers and water tunnels that were discovered beneath the world's most well-known pyramids, making it extra creepy. Don't know if it was the Pyramid of Giza. I didn't look super into that.
It's probably the Bass Pro one in Memphis.
Maybe, but I don't think so.
There's catacombs underneath the Bass Pro.
They had-
large Bass Pro shops.
They had pictures. It was really cool,
That's
actually.
cool.
So there are unexplainable temperature fluctuations and gusts of wind inside of the pyramid, seemingly coming from nowhere. The atmosphere is simply unsettling. A well-known presence at...
There are giraffes in caves
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
So
Sorry.
you're just going to be the devil's advocate on this podcast?
I mean, I can be.
If you want to, if that's what it seems like.
I'm just saying it makes sense that there were giraffes down there because that's just naturally what happens with different pressures and whatnot.
I believe it's the pharaoh.
Okay. I guess I am the skeptic. I'm more the science person anyways.
So a well-known presence at the Pyramid of Giza is Imhotep. If you have ever seen The Mummy, he is the mummy. However, the movie is not accurate to his real life.
That's what to say.
We don't even know how he died in real life, unlike the movie where he is buried alive and eaten.
Because he was the Rizzler.
Yeah.
He rizzed up the Pharaoh's girl and took her to Ohio to get some gyat.
And this is not the true story.
Just some brain rot for all my Zoomers out there.
So Imhotep was born a commoner and later worked his way to become a vizier, sage, architect, astrologer, and chief minister to Hoser. The artist?
Hoser.
No.
Is it spelled that way?
The first king of Egypt's third dynasty, actually. It's
Oh,
spelled
that's cool.
Djoser.
Whoa.
Later worshipped as the god of medicine in Egypt and Greece.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Even Greece. This spread that far.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's thought that Imhotep was a practicing physician because ancient illustrations show him as the chief magician of the pharaoh's court. And at the time, chief magicians frequently served as chief physicians. Interesting.
This is interesting.
What were you gonna
So Imhotep is the first king of the third dynasty?
say? Imhotep is
Served
his-
under the first king
yes,
of the third
Imhotep
dynasty. Okay.
is in his standing.
Yeah, he really came up.
He did. He was born a commoner and he
Yeah.
worked his way up.
It's crazy.
He was chief minister and practicing physician
What age
and
did he
magician.
die at?
Bruh.
I
don't know.
I just wonder these sort of things because it was so long ago. I wonder what his life
I don't know.
expectancy
I
was.
might have written down the year he died, but I didn't. So Imhotep had a reputation as a genius. He was a trained scribe, held a high position in court, and became known as a medical demigod only 100 years after his death, leading us to believe that he must have been a physician of considerable skill. He was also believed to be the architect of the step pyramid, which I was talking about earlier.
Smallest one.
It's not the smallest, but it's one of the first ones.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually thought to be the
Oh, Ichi. Oh, whatever.
it was actually thought to be the world's first true pyramid. So he was believed to be the architect of the step pyramid built at the necropolis of Saqqara in Memphis, intended as the true burial place for his king that he served with Djoser. This is thought to be the world's first true pyramid, which was what I just said, but I wrote it down on my notes, so I wanted to say it again.
Did you just say Memphis?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy that there's a pyramid in Memphis. That's for
So
Bass Pro Shops.
this is not a part of the pyramids of Giza. It's about 19 miles south of Cairo and was built way before the Giza pyramids. He was eventually elevated to the position of a full deity, replacing Nefertiti in the Great Triad of Memphis, placing him along with Sekhmet, the goddess of war and pestilence, and Ptah, creator of the universe. So he went from commoner to full-on deity, which is pretty awesome. And he is one of the two only mortals to be deified. His temple
Well,
was...
supposed mortals besides pharaohs.
What?
What?
He was born a human. That's what I mean.
Well, yeah, but whatever.
His temple was filled with people who prayed and slept there, hoping that Imhotep would show up in their dreams to reveal remedies to them. According to legend, the spirit of Imhotep still roams the pyramid at Giza. Don't know why it's Giza. That's what I read, because that's not his pyramid, but it's supposedly guarding its secrets and protecting it from harm. Many of the whispers and eerie feelings visitors hear and feel are attributed to Imhotep's ghostly presence. People claim
See
to...
this boy?
He's adorable. People claim to see shadowy figures moving through corridors and chambers of the pyramids. They're often described as ethereal and translucent, with a translucent quality. Maybe it is the apparition of Imhotep, or maybe it is the spirits of the workers that died building the pyramids. You'll never know.
Unless you go and you figure it out.
So I really couldn't find any specific stories of his ghostly presence from like anybody specifically. So if you have one, let me know. If you've ever been to the pyramids, that would be pretty cool. Let us know. Mostly just some sources saying that he still protects the pyramids since he was one of the first architects.
Yeah.
Well, he was the first architect of the pyramid, which is pretty cool. With all the awesome archaeological discoveries at the pyramids, many people believe that we should not be messing around with the pharaoh's tombs because the rituals performed at the time of death would curse anyone who defiled them, which is kind of what the mummy is all about.
Mm-hmm.
It is thought that the Great Sphinx of Giza is the guardian of
Well, no, that part didn't make any sense.
What?
Why? What's his name? was so cursed whenever they buried him?
They just put a curse on him on the Mummy movie.
Yeah.
They put
Well, is that why they just put like the world's strongest curse just to be like,
they put
whoever fucking resurrects this guy, you are screwed.
Yeah,
You're gonna die.
They put a curse on him because they didn't want him to come back and bring back the Pharaoh's wife. Remember?
But that doesn't make sense because the curse that he did come back because of the curse, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a movie.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
So back to the Sphinx for some reason, I just wanted to throw these facts in. So it's thought that the Great Sphinx of Giza is the guardian of the pyramids in ancient Egypt. There have been no bodies recovered in any of the pyramids, fun fact. So the running theory now is that the bodies of Pharaoh Khufu and Khafre are housed beneath the Sphinx.
And they're just faux pyramids? Faux sarcophaguses or whatever?
Well, their sarcophaguses are like their actual coffins.
Yes. Well, I just meant like...
The pyramids are tombs. So
yes.
No, the tombs are what people pray to, I guess. And it's like what has all of their stuff in it. So to end this, there is so much more that I would love to go into about ancient Egypt because I'm just really interested in it and the myths and legends that go along with that. But that would take forever, so I'm going to stop here. I loved researching this topic and will definitely be going deeper into certain legends that I've come across because there is so much. I didn't even scratch the surface. And that's my story.
What
did you think about my story? I need validation.
It was good. It was good. Good job.
Thanks. Guys, we're tired. It's 11 p.m. It's our bedtime. And now it's Jordan's time to say a story.
Alright, now it is my turn to tell the story. We're going to be, of course, doing another SCP. We're going to do a shorter one because the length.
Because we're tired and we want to go to bed because we have to go snowboarding tomorrow at 6:30.
6 a.m. Alright, today we're going to be doing SCP-8093. Level 1, Unrestricted. Containment class is Esoteric. Secondary class is Thaumiel. Disruption class is Dark. And risk class is Notice. So, yeah. Special containment procedures. As it is highly unlikely for the general population to discover and utilize the effects of SCP-8093. Obfuscation? Obfuscation?
Sure.
You see that?
Yes.
Of it existence is unnecessary. Instead, any rumors of replacing all of your bones are to be passed off as internet humor. Standard skeletal and misinformation practices are in place. Description: SCP-8093 is a phenomenon in which a person appears to have a different identity. If all of their bones are replaced with the bones of other people or objects, the subjects themselves are affected by this phenomenon, and will often report a sense of fundamental change to their being. Discovery: SCP-8093 was discovered in 2018 by GOI 9873, the Bone Bureaucracy, which is a collective of sapient skeletons. During a regular bone swap, with a footnote saying these meetings take place for morale, Skeleton 27 had swapped the last of her original bones, causing the remaining skeletons in the meeting to not recognize her. This prompted them to immediately stop the meeting, call security, and confiscate Skeleton 27's weaponizable bones. Interesting. The Foundation was contacted to report the incident after the misunderstanding was cleared up. Skeleton 27 changed her name to Skeleton 28 following this event, as she felt her old name was no longer applicable to her.
I'm confused.
I am as well.
Keep going.
Addendum 1. After the discovery of SCP-8093, many of the Foundation skeleton agents attempted to use it to aid their undercover duties. This was wildly successful, as skeletons well known for their involvement with the Foundation were able to infiltrate many GOIs without being recognized. There is now a Foundation-aligned skeleton in the top ranks of all major anomalous organizations. The bone bureaucracy is the only GOI unable to be infiltrated in this fashion, as they implemented rigorous identification measures after SCP-8093's discovery, such as bone shaking and the xylophone test. Xylophone test. Following the initial success of utilizing SCP-8093, a non-skeleton agent attempted to infiltrate a GOI by surgically replacing its bones. This attempt was predictably unsuccessful. Addendum 2. Many of the skeletons affected by SCP-8093 have stated that they feel rattled about their new identities not matching their old ones. Get it? Rattled because they're skeletons? They often report that their interests and hobbies are no longer applicable to them, as they no longer have the same bones that they learned those hobbies with. So they're more so talking about like souls and shit. Some skeletons have considered participating in flesh hobbies to help forge a new identity for themselves, such as sun tanning, bodybuilding, food testing, and tennis. However, these practices are highly discouraged by the greater skeleton population. The social stigma has caused the affected skeletons to feel conflicted about their new identities. Skeletal parents also undergo difficulties due to their young children being unable to recognize them, leading to the children refusing to take part in yearly family calcium feeding, as some skeletons are afraid of losing their identity as a result of SCP-8093. Many have given up bone swapping, which has raised concerns for their physical and mental well-being. Addendum 3. The bone bureaucracy started an outreach program to help negatively affected skeletons. This program provides services such as therapy, classes, bone show and tell, and workshops with orthopedic doctors. The majority of skeletons participating in the outreach program have reported more fulfillment in their lives, stating that they feel comfortable that their bones are in a better place. The bone bureaucracy is also considering setting up a bone donation program to help skeletons utilize SCP-8093 as a fresh start. There is a popular outreach class titled The Bones of Thesis: How the Paradox Isn't Just Ships. This historical thesis, whose ghost and the Foundation's employ, has declined to comment on this class.
What is SCP-8093?
It's a phenomenon where skeletons swap all their bones to where they're no longer, like, they don't have a single original bone, so they lose their identity, basically lose their ego and their soul.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm so tired I didn't understand any of that. But
The Ship of Thesis is a thought experiment about whether an object has had all of its original components replaced remains the same object. That makes no sense. Anywho, yep, that is that. That was Partners in Paranormal. We did great today.
That was interesting.
What?
That
story? Yeah. Well,
yeah, so if you've made it this far,
thank you.
You should follow us on all of our social media. I put us on Reddit, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook group. All of those are Partners in Paranormal. That's the name. So if you have a scary story, I would love to see it.
Hear it? Chop it up. Screw it.
Yeah, if you know us, just text it to me. If you don't know us, just DM it to us on our Instagram or TikTok.
If you don't know us, here's Grayson's phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Not doing
so, yeah, thanks for joining us today. If you've made it this far, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.